Hello everyone, Agent of Doubt here, and I'm going to respond to a comment from the Woolly Bumblebee, but first I'm just going to say that any other discussion of being transgendered on my part will probably end up on my friend Michelle's channel, link below, MS Night 5 on YouTube, because I defer to knowledge and experience when I can find it, and Michelle has a lot more experience and knowledge about the life of transgendered people than I do. So, link below, subscribe if you want to hear me say anything else about this topic. So, the Woolly Bumblebee commented on my last video, and I don't even have to link you to the comments and have you sift through because she was nice enough to take a picture of her comment and tweet it to me. So I'll just link her tweet. Awesome. Very courteous of her. And I agree with most of what she says about gender terminology until we get to gender dysphoria. And she says in the middle of her tweet to me, which starts kind of like an outline of her last videos and then starts getting more personalized towards me. She says, "You're speaking on a subject you are not clearly well-versed in." Sorry. "You're speaking on a subject you are clearly not well-versed in, and I do not fault you for it, but clearly you do not know what that paragraph meant and how any of these terms/definitions work." Okay. How clearer could it be when I'm pointing to a sentence that says, "It is important to note that gender nonconformity is not in itself a mental disorder." Black and white, right there. Not in a link from Huffington Post. Not in a link from some progressive trash site. Okay? Not in a link from anywhere that Woolly Bumblebee doesn't want to get links from. This is in the fucking thing that she linked herself from the DSM5.org website. Now, here's the DSM5 right here. Right? She takes a pamphlet from the DSM5's website, links it, doesn't fucking read it, and it says right there, "It is important to note that gender nonconformity is not in and of itself a mental disorder." It's in the third paragraph, right there. Goes on to say, "The critical element of gender dysphoria is the presence of clinically significant distress associated with the condition," which means that if you don't have that clinically significant distress, you don't have the critical element to be able to diagnose gender dysphoria. Therefore, those transgendered people who don't have clinically significant distress don't have gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria and transgendered are not synonymous. Anyone who says so didn't read this and doesn't understand the definitions. Okay, so then it gets a little bit more personal, and this is why I'm responding. It says, "And just as an aside, psychotherapists are not psychiatrists or psychologists." No, there's a little bit of overlap, but no, they're not. Gotcha. But there are distinctions. They're also not social workers, which Woolly Bumblebee used to be. They cannot prescribe any medication or medical treatment. No, I make a lot of referrals, and I can't prescribe things, especially not off of any scheduled drug list or controlled drug list, but I do refer people to Vivitrol treatment and Antabuse, and I do administer these things, and I give out nicotine gum every day that I work. This is like 5 days out of 7. I fill out Mars and give out prescribed medications all the time, and I'm not a nurse. I'm not a pharmacist. You know, I'm not even a medical assistant. I am what I am as a psychotherapist, but I am Q-mapped, and I do work in residential facilities. I have licenses to go along with it, and yeah, I do deal with medication a lot. No, I don't make the last call as to whether somebody does get a medication, but in the future, because I follow the histories of medicine a lot because I am an addiction counselor. Psychotherapists and psychologists are probably going to get the ability to prescribe drugs under their purview as they pertain to mental illnesses. This is a change that we're heading towards in the future. And that would be my track. Probably to become further in my career a psychologist that will have limited prescribing abilities. She goes on to say, and psychotherapists use talk therapy as the only treatment option, which does not adequately address a lot of mental illnesses that are brought on by chemical imbalances in the brain or comorbidity. Talk therapy is not the only thing that a psychotherapist can do. For example, EMDR, meditation, let's see, experiential treatment. Yeah, no, that's not the only thing that we do. We don't just talk to people. It's a large part of what we do. But if you're running a class on meditation, then if people are talking, you might be doing it wrong. Man, if I could describe all of the different experiential treatment that's out there, I've had discussions about the board exercise so many times, and about how it seems like hazing. When people learn from going through physical experiences, and there's experiential treatment where you tie people together in a certain way with yarn, where they have to try to figure out how to get out without cheating, and yeah. No, you don't know what you're talking about if you think that psychotherapists only use talk therapy. Look up EMDR. Look up patting. Look up, everything else that a psychotherapist can do. So yeah. She also says that psychotherapists are helpful for things like marriage counseling, but not much more than that, unless it's being used in combination with drug therapy prescribed by a doctor. No, also wrong. As a psychotherapist, I actually haven't treated anyone for problems in their marriage. I am an addiction counselor, and as a former social worker, the Woolly Bumblebee should know that to become a licensed marriage and family therapist, that's something that you can achieve as a social worker, not as a psychotherapist. These are two different branches of the behavioral sciences. And no, it would be helpful for things like marriage counseling. And there are people who branch out and get all sorts of alphabet soup on the end of their name. But no, I'm not going towards the LMFT anytime soon in my life. Probably LPC. And yeah, there are so many other things that a psychotherapist can help you deal with other than marriage counseling. But overarching from this comment, from the meat and potatoes of this, what I see is the Woolly Bumblebee wants to say that a former social worker like herself knows more about the DSM-5 than I do. Which, in the case of gender dysphoria, I know we have already proven to be false, but let me go further and say that in the history of the term gender dysphoria, there was a task force on the former term, gender identity disorder, which stigmatized transgendered people and made them to be considered to be mentally ill. There was a task force in 2011, and I'm sorry if it's behind a paywall, but I'll link the report below, and you can just Look it up yourself. But they recommended certain things to the committee that was writing the DSM-5, and this task force from the APA, they went ahead and APA. They went ahead and said that we need to remove transgendered people from the stigma of mental illness, and that's why gender dysphoria came about as a term. And in the link that Woolly Bumblebee provided, it goes on to explain about the political nature of why they can't remove this term from the DSM, because that would help out every Christian organization that has health insurance that wants to exclude transgendered people from treatment, such as hormone replacement therapy and gender reassignment surgeries. So, there is a political component to this, which has nothing to do with medical science, that is keeping gender dysphoria in the book. And Woolly Bumblebee's link explains that. Okay, if we could do away with the political reasons, and if everyone would just grow up and live in the 21st century and not try to make decisions on other people's healthcare based on their own holy books, then yeah, we could altogether do away with treating transgenderism as having anything special about it as far as significant stressors that come about from having transgendered lifestyles. And it is interesting to note that the DSM is not the same as the International Diagnostic Manual that would be used for people overseas in other healthcare situations where there is universal healthcare, and they don't have to list gender dysphoria at all, because it's a thing that's unique to places where transgendered people suffer discrimination in access to things. So yeah, being transgendered, not synonymous with gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is something that a transgendered person can feel. Doesn't necessarily mean that gender dysphoria is transgendered. I feel like the horse has been beaten to death now. Okay? Lastly, Woolly Bumblebee has gone on the non sequitur of people who disagree with her might say that people who are mentally ill are bad people. No, mentally ill people are not bad people. Almost everybody is crazy. Some people just get caught. And no, everybody's got their own flavors, and just seek help if it's hurting you. That's all I've got to say about that. If you've got a problem, ask for help. If it's not bothering you, leave it alone. Don't break what isn't broken. So, yeah, I think that's it. Once again, link to Michelle Knight's channel below, where I do plan to very soon have a conversation and talk some more about her life in the world of being transgendered. There's so much more you guys can learn from Michelle Knight about this subject than what I can provide. I'm just speaking from my own experience and education, and yeah, have a nice day.